Hey friend, welcome back. Well, it's been a while since we've done one of these sit down chat type videos, and I figured it's about time. I did a community post, I guess, asking what type of videos you guys would like to see next or more of, and one person told me that they would like to know more about God's Garden Bench. So I figured I would go ahead and do that and answer kind of as many questions as I think that people may have about God's Garden Bench. And so that's greatly what this video is going to be about. And I'm going to try to show you a little like bits and pieces of how the garden is doing. So God's Garden Bench got started last year, I guess around this time. I had really been feeling a leading to get onto YouTube in some way. But I was like, God, are you seriously? Like, you want me to be on YouTube? Why? Like, why me? And I have been watching a couple people on YouTube regularly, and they had just been impacting my life and speaking to my life in so many great and wonderful ways. And God had been using them to speak to me in just profound ways. And so I was kind of comparing myself to these people, being like, who am I in comparison to this person who has so many followers and so many views and all the things? Like, why would somebody want to watch me in my little garden talking about my garden and me? And at this point, I didn't even realize that like God was going to be the center focus of my YouTube channel. So I kind of brushed it off, and I was just like, yeah, I'll I guess revisit whatever that feeling is. But it was very persistent. It was very quiet but persistent. And so a couple months go by, and I talked to Wyatt, and I was just like, hey, I have this feeling that like we're supposed to do something on YouTube. Like, I think that people would really enjoy to see what we have going on here. And he was just like, okay, but how? Once again. So he had a similar reaction to me. And he said, there's so many people already showing the world and people what they're doing on, you know, an expanse of property and homesteading. And they're doing even more than we are. They have cows and goats and all the things. Like, once again, why would they watch us? And I was just like, yeah, okay, so that's the same question I have. So I kind of tucked it away and was just like, okay, I'll just kind of tuck it away, and I'll just, you know, once again, I'll just wait. I'll wait for confirmation. I'll wait for it to become clear. And then just all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, it hit me that I'm just supposed to share what God gave me, and this blessing, these incredible blessings that surround me in my life every single day. And something that I don't take for granted, but it's become my life. Someone else is going to see so much of God in those little details. And so at the time, and even still now, but at the time, I was watching a lot of like a relaxation type, beautiful scenery, and beautiful music just kind of on the TV as background noise, or you know, just something kind of going while we were maybe cleaning the house or making dinner, and you know, just doing different things. And I was like, you know what? I think that would be really cool to do, but from a garden perspective. So like, hey, come sit on my garden bench with me and just enjoy the pure ambiance that is the garden. And so that is really how God's Garden Bench originally started. And I really leaned into that, and I really enjoyed it. Capturing the footage. I am a photographer, or was a photographer in a previous earlier part of my life. And so I very much enjoy photography, and I didn't feel very confident in a videography position, once again, because I felt inadequate. I felt like hey, there are people doing this way better than I am. Why would I, little old me, try to even somewhat compete with these beautiful videographers that just create these scapes that just make you want to live there and jump into it? And God just kept saying, just do it. Just start. Just turn your camera on and see what happens. What could go wrong? You don't even have to actually post any of these videos. Just start somewhere. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I see where you would like me to start. But what next? We need to round this out a little bit. So then it really became, how wonderful would it be to have verses and God being able to really speak through these relaxation, these calm, relaxing, beautiful videos of the garden. And so that is where I came up with putting either the verse on the screen or me voiceovering the verse into this beautiful, relaxing scenery. And I want to start making a few more of those type of videos just because I greatly value them. And I know other people value them. So then I did a couple of those, and all of a sudden I started hearing this voice again, and this quiet leading, this very loving leading, saying, okay, good job. All right. You did it. You're out there. Now I would like you to be in the videos. And I was just like, no, for real. How? Why? Why do I need to be in the video? So we have been so blessed to have little miracles in our lives. And so my body has taken its fair share of journey on its own. And I've always struggled with a body image issue as far as not feeling fully confident in the body that God gave me. Granted, that is a growing, beautiful journey in and of itself. But when I'm thinking about putting myself out there on the internet for anyone who wants to see it, and to potentially judge me, potentially compare themselves to me, whatever it is, was really scary for me and very overwhelming. And so I was just like, God, seriously, are you sure? Like, this doesn't sound fun to me. But he was like, yes, I am sure. And so once again, I just jumped in and went for it. And it's been such an amazing journey, and he's taught me so much in it. And that it doesn't matter what other people think of me. Their opinion of me and my body or my hair or whatever, in the garden, it doesn't actually matter. What matters is God's view of me and God's love for me, and whether I'm walking in God and for God, and I'm doing all things to glorify his kingdom and show people just that. I shouldn't be doing YouTube or anything in my life for the acknowledgement from other people. It should only be for the acknowledgement of God, for God, of God, all the things. And so it's been such an amazing journey, and one that I did not foresee coming when I first started my YouTube channel. And it's just continuing from here. I'm in a little bit of a lull with YouTube, which I'm going to do another video on, just kind of explaining and going through how that works and how that creative process works for me. Because that's kind of a subject all of itself, or all on its own. But that is really how God's Garden Bench got its start. And the name God's Garden Bench really came from my husband built me this really simple garden, like really simple bench. And at that time, I was really into palette projects. He had gotten a whole bunch of free palettes. And I really wanted to create this bench with like an arbor over it. And I thought, how cool would it be to like sit underneath, a trellis full of plants. Although on second thought, in the South, sitting in plants is probably not the most pleasant thing for the bugs and the spiders and just all the creepy crawlies that happen in a garden space. Granted, we love them, especially when they're helper bugs and helper spiders, but when you're sitting in it, it's not as ideal. So that didn't really work out as far as my plan goes, but he built this beautiful bench, and we call it going and sitting on the garden bench, or garden benching it is really what we call it. And so after dinner, a lot of the time last year, I would be like, hey, let's go garden benching. And we'd all go out, sit on the garden or sit on the bench, enjoy the garden. The heat would have broken somewhat at that point. So just to hear all the crickets starting and the birds chirping and the butterflies and the bees, the hummingbirds. I mean, it was just truly magical. And so I knew I wanted to put garden bench in there somewhere just because of how much it meant to me. But then it was very important that I put out there and people knew when they found my channel with no doubt what they were going to get on my channel. And so that's where God's Garden Bench came from. And that's where we are now. I hope that you enjoyed this little blurb about God's Garden Bench. And if once again you have any more questions, ask me and I will answer them.